Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Morgan Angelique Owens.
And if you didn't know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African-American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. And today we have with us our digital correspondent, Andria Carter. How's it going, Andria?
Fine, John. How are you, Morgan?
I'm good. How are you, Soror?
Oh, just fine, just fine. Just trying to be upbeat and happy.
I know that's right.
And we also have with us a special guest. And if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you. My name is Candace Bates, and I am the agency owner of State Farm Insurance located in downtown Cincinnati.
Good to have you on our show. Very good. Now, before we hop into a main topic, we have a list of news topics that's happened over the week. So, Andrea, what's the chocolate news of the week?
Well, the chocolate news of the week, I'm going to start off with I'm a little heartfelt. One of my favorite movie idols, which I don't have that many, was the ever charismatic Sidney Poitier. He passed away just recently, and he starred in a lot of great movies, did several wonderful TV series, and he was an activist, and he spoke truth to power a lot, and he was just an all-around good guy. And unfortunately, he came, I'm going to be dating myself, like if everyone has watched all the old favorites, To Sir with Love, Lilies of the Field, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I remember when I was a kid, my mother took me to see him where he started with Bill Cosby in Uptown Saturday Night. Then the sequel, Let's Do It Again, which, were wonderful films, very funny. He was just an all-around wonderful actor, and I'm just sorry to see that he passed.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen many of Sidney Poitier's films. I think the only two I've seen are Lilies in the Field, and that's the one he won the Academy Award for. And also,
Yes.
if you didn't know that, he's the first Black actor to win a competitive Academy Award for Best Actor. So that's an interesting fact. And also, I saw Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
He also did Raisin in the Sun.
Right.
The original Raisin in the Sun. But I love Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That scene where he had with his father, where he tells his father, "You see yourself as a Black man, I just see myself as a man." I thought that was such a powerful statement. Even in the 60s, that's such a powerful statement. Even today, it still resonates, and he's going to be sorely missed.
He definitely will be missed because Sidney Poitier, I don't think people, especially in this generation, they don't know how much of an impact he had on cinema, and especially Black actors and actresses in cinema, because without Sidney Poitier, there wouldn't be a Denzel Washington or Wesley Snipes or Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith.
Oh, yeah. I remember when Denzel won his Oscar for Best Actor, for supporting actor. And it had been a while since a Black had won an Oscar for anything. And Sidney was right there in the audience, beaming. He was up front so he could see it himself, and they just looked at each other. And I remember that moment. And, it's little snippets that come to my mind when something like this occurs, just moments that have touched you and showed you that excellence continues to, cream rises to the top, no matter where it is. And it's just a matter for everyone else to see it, recognize it. And Sidney Poitier, his cream has been rising to the top for a long time, and I'm just sorry to see him go.
Definitely.
So that's sad news. I am going to move on real quick to the Cincinnati Public Schools. They have voted to go remote starting January 12th. They're going to be remote for 2 weeks because of the surge that's affecting, the Omicron surge is affecting everybody, not only in our area, but around the country. And everyone is just affected by this.
Yeah.
It's just unreal. It took them a moment to get to this place to go remote, but with so many people out, they had 300 people out, 300 teachers out in one day.
Yep. And my mom, she's a CPS teacher, and she said she had at least 30 teachers out of the building on that Monday they went back. So it's just crazy to me. And I mean, I was sick and I'm a consultant in the school. So I couldn't go in for after school. I'm like, nope, I'm staying home. Like literally everyone has been sick. And I just automatically assume that like everyone has COVID right now. When I leave home, I just say everybody has COVID because I know the reported like, what is it, like 25% of
Yeah.
Hamilton County residents have had it. But it's like, I couldn't even get a rapid test. So I just quarantined for 6 days. The closest thing I could get a test would be like, it was like 5 days later that I wanted to take a test. And I'm like, well, what's the point? So I can only imagine, everyone that wasn't documented if they had COVID or not. Now, I think I just had the flu, but who even knows nowadays?
I just think that everyone has to be careful about it. I know I've looked at the symptoms and, it's interesting. My sister and I, we both felt under the weather, both at the same time. And we're identical twins. She's in Florida, I'm here. And we both felt under the weather and we both had the same symptoms, but it's not COVID.
Yeah.
And the good news is I know I'm just fighting off a cold.
Yeah.
And because I'm trying to go away this weekend, I'm fighting off a cold.
Yeah.
And but there are certain things that happen with COVID that are not happening.
Yeah.
And you just have to be careful.
Yeah.
Wear your mask, have your hand sanitizer,
Yeah.
do the best that you can to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And then you help take care of your fellow man as well.
Go back to how we used to be.
Yeah. And
So paranoid. Yeah.
I think what's so sad though, everyone who's going to the hospital or is in an ICU unit are those who are unvaccinated. The good news about this is that those who are vaccinated just are at home. You don't have to go to the hospital. You just have to ride it out, but it's not deadly to you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the beauty of the vaccine. And I think those who don't believe in it, well, if we can't convince you by now to get it, you have to suffer the consequences of your decision.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
I think our young people who cannot get the vaccination, we just have to protect them and pray that the parents are doing their best to keep them healthy and well and keep moving forward. Because I had one doctor who I was listening to NPR say that, everyone is going to be touched by this one way or the other. And he said, at the end of the day, as long as you do everything right, keep moving forward with your life. You cannot let this stop you.
Yeah.
We've all been traumatized by it. We've all been scared by it. And he said, now is the time to take the bull by the horns, do what you need to do, and keep moving on with your life. Because we may be dealing with masks and hand sanitizer for a while, but that should not stop us from living.
Exactly.
And I think we're all adaptable. We all just have to deal with it. And everyone just has to deal with the new reality of life for right now. So,
no, yeah, I totally agree.
It's just unreal, but I wish everyone the best. Stay well, be healthy. I'm drinking my tea right now. So, do your best and get a good mask, whether it's a good cloth mask or a good N95 mask or a surgical mask. Get your mask. And especially if you have a disposable mask, wear them a couple of times, get rid of it, get a fresh one. There's so many people who keep reusing them over and over and over again. When I was in Florida, one guy said, well, I'm getting a rash or something. I said, well,
ew.
Right. And I said,
that's nasty.
How many? Well, he
that
didn't
mask
know.
stank.
Well, he was like, he kept using it. And I said, no. That's the reason why it's disposable. Get rid of it and get a fresh one.
Right.
And so he's like, oh, okay. So, curb that family member. What are you going to do?
It also doesn't help that people don't put the mask over their noses either.
Right.
I've seen
what's
so
up with
many
that?
people, people just outside, people working, they don't
Mhm.
put the mask over their nose. So like, that's a big problem also.
Yeah. My biggest problem is that my glasses fog up when I have a mask on, but you adjust and keep moving forward.
Right.
Everyone just has to do their best, stay safe, and keep moving. That's the best I can say, but we will
Yep.
continue to update you as things occur, as Hamilton County and the city have declared COVID emergencies, but they have not mandated anything other than you must wear a mask when you enter either a county building or a city building. Other
Mhm.
than that, they're not doing anything else or demanding anyone do anything else except wear a mask. And they urge people to stay away from large crowds. But if you can't, like for instance, the Bengals game coming up, hand sanitize, wear your mask, cheer for your Bengals, go from there. So do what's best, what is right, and that's the best thing that we can do. So that is another continuing story that I'm following. Then we had a couple of tragedies coming out of the holidays. One was we had two fires that were very deadly, one in New York, one in Philadelphia. It's always sad to hear when a family is killed with a fire. The first one in Philadelphia, 12 people were killed. And unfortunately, they have determined that it was a child playing with a lighter and accidentally ignited the Christmas tree. And that caused a row house fire to occur. And unfortunately, 12 people died. And I believe about 5 or 6 were children, which is always a tragedy. So people, please be careful, watch your children, what they're touching, what they're playing with. Make sure that, if you have a candle going, watch it, keep it free from anything, and just go from there. Always be careful, because we always know that we're practice safety with anything that's flammable, but with a child, you never know what they're thinking, you never know what they're doing. Please watch them. The other story is the 17 people also killed by a fire in Bronx, New York. And unfortunately, they all died of smoke inhalation. There is some concern that where were the fire alarms? Now, supposedly, according to one New York official, the building had been inspected days before this fire. They said the smoke alarms were working and that they tested fine and everything. Unfortunately, after the fire, they found the smoke alarms were not working. So either someone took the batteries out of the smoke alarm, we just don't know. The fire was started by a malfunctioning electrical space heater. That's another thing to watch. But again, practice safety. Even if you don't like your fire alarm, don't take the batteries out of it. It will save your life. If you use an electric heater, make sure that it's plugged into an outlet. It's not attached to an extension cord or plugged into an extended multi-prong extension cord. Make sure it's free and clear. Nothing's getting in the way. Nothing is covering it, because space heaters are iffy. I've used them in the past, but I always make sure everything's clear, nothing's up against them, because space heaters are wonderful things. They keep you warm, but you have to be careful with them because you never know, anything can happen with them. And unfortunately, there was a tunnel effect with this fire. So as how the smoke went through the building, it was in such a way that people breathed it in instead of going out. And it's just a sad affair, very, very tragic. So
it is very sad. And also with space heaters too, set a timer on it. You don't need it running all night. You just need it running maybe about an hour and you should be good.
You should, because if you think about it, the longer it runs, the more it heats up the wires in the wall. And that can cause a fire in the wall. You don't know it's happening. So you have to be careful. It is a man-made product. So just be careful. And so unfortunately, those are two tragedies that occurred, but enough sadness. One final exciting piece of news is that the US Mint is issuing a program featuring a number of women who have accomplished many things throughout life on US coins. And the first coin to be minted and distributed to the public is going to be the quarter featuring Maya Angelou, a wonderful civil rights leader and author. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings which just resonates with every single woman. No, that's not it. It's Phenomenal Woman. Her poem, Phenomenal Woman, resonates with every woman. We all know what that means, what it represents. So now that we'll be able to see her on a quarter, I know I'm going to be saving some quarters when I finally see it. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Dr. Sally Ride, Manhunt Killer, and one other woman is also being featured on a coin, which will be distributed throughout the country throughout the year. So be on the lookout for all of those coins. Be on the lookout for Maya Angelou. She should be out shortly. So I think it's a fantastic thing, especially coming right before, I can say this, even though it's a little early, Black History Month is coming up soon. So wonderful, wonderful pre-thing to have occur prior to Black History Month, something that's wonderful and we can celebrate it. And that's all the chocolate news I have today.
Love it.
Well, that's fantastic. And thank you, Andrea. So now I want to move it on to Morgan Angelique Owens. Well, she'll talk about some beauty, culture, and lifestyle. So go ahead, Morgan.
Yes, thank you, John. And I'm so happy to be back live with you guys. So, I've been moving and grooving, and Herald Beauty has been doing phenomenal things. Actually, we are about to celebrate our 1 year of launching. Time has flew by. So make sure you stay tuned for upcoming articles about that. I also went to Paris for Herald Beauty. So make sure that you stay tuned for all my beauty adventures in Paris. But this year, I really am excited. I'm going to have some amazing guests come on, like the one I'm about to bring on now, just to get us ready for the new year. So, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. That's what I do. That's what I eat, live, and breathe. And so I want to make sure that all us boss babes and other entrepreneurs are ringing in 2022 the right way. So welcome my guest for today, Candace. Hey, Candace.
Hey, Morgan.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So can you just briefly introduce yourself to the audience again and just talk about a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So again, I'm Candace Bates, and I am a State Farm agency owner downtown Cincinnati. It's the only State Farm agency that is located in that downtown radius, which also covers Covington and Newport. So I'm excited to be a woman of color in the community that serves insurance needs. So I'm happy to be there. I opened my agency August of last year. So we haven't even hit a year yet, but business is doing great. I'm meeting great people like you, Morgan, that can get a word out to let others know that we're in the community and we're here to help.
Yes, I love it. And we love seeing Black women do the thing. Girl, I didn't know you weren't even like a year in. You're doing amazing things. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so Candace and I met because she actually just popped up at the Herald Beauty event, and we connected back in September. And then I did a strategic planning course over at the African American Chamber before the end of the year, and we partnered again. And she just went in for the attendees and just let them know why it's important to have insurance and really what types of insurance for different business owners. So I'm super excited to be able to partner with Candace and her agency this year to just educate people, because especially minorities, we don't have a lot of access to the resources that we need. So whenever I can connect with other business owners that look like me, that is helping people who look like me, I am here for it. So Candace, I know we talked about a little bit about, some of your tips for business owners. We're not going to spill all the tea tonight because they're going to have to tune in for an upcoming blog and article about it. But can you share at least one tip for business owners? Because I know I learned a lot from that strategic planning class. So I'm going to wait to see what your answer is, and then I'm going to drop some tea that I learned from you. So can you go ahead and share at least one tip for business owners that are listening?
Sure. I'm going to share the tip that I learned when I started becoming an entrepreneur, and that is to have a strategy. It's one thing to have a plan, but having a strategy is in a different category, in my opinion. And the reason is because you can have a plan, but if you don't have a strategy on how to actually implement the plan, then it's going to be very difficult for you to reach your goal. And
Right.
so if that would be one thing that I would, recommend for any entrepreneur out there getting ready to start a home-based business, whether it's a home-based or even a business that you're going to have like a storefront, is to please have a strategy when moving forward.
Yeah, that's so good. Because if you don't have a strategy, you're just basically throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. I think a lot of business owners just get so caught up in the romance of having a business, romance of having, being an entrepreneur, being your own boss. But there's a lot of knit and grit that goes into it that a lot of people don't understand. And, I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years and I'm still learning things that I, wish I knew from the beginning. So I think that's absolutely so necessary. Speaking of that, how does your agency help business owners and entrepreneurs?
Sure. Well, we help business owners build, like I just talked about, a strategy. And trying to create that plan in thinking about starting the business, and also thinking about how your liability extends. Again, I'm just going to put a tack in it because I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more in some other platforms, but yes, how your liability extends, meaning that if you're liable for something and you're at fault, what does that mean for you? And not just you individually, but everything around you. And what I mean by that, your home, the things that you've worked hard for, cars and other real estate. So think about those things that when you're starting a business, I have all of my customers kind of just, hey, what's really at stake here? And meaning that, let's have an asset inventory. So if you're liable for something, what is the court going for at this point? So those are things that I have my business owners think about when they come in to talk about business insurance, because you do need it, even if you have a home-based business, believe it or not, you do need to think about having some type of general liability that extends from you, should you be liable for something that you didn't mean to do, but it just happened.
Right. So, I'm all into beauty. So I know we talked about this before. Like, say someone has a skincare business where they're either giving facials or they're creating like a homemade skincare line. And say someone has like a breakout or a reaction. Is this something that like people need to take in consideration to get some sort of insurance for?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And that's actually a great scenario. So yes, if you have a product that you are sharing with someone else and you sell it, and someone else comes back to say that, hey, what you created caused me to either break out or have some type of skin infection, yes, that could fly in court, and they could take you to court to say that you're liable for something. But again, that's where your liability, your general liability, would extend and protect you and your assets. And so that's what, I would want to talk to any of my customers about.
That's awesome. John, Andrea, did you know that? Did you know that you need insurance for that?
No, I did not know that actually.
No, I didn't know that either. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and would it be beneficial for business owners to have people sign some sort of like liability up on top of getting insurance to their customers if they're selling that type of product or service?
Sure. You're talking about some type of disclosure form.
Yeah.
And I would actually, recommend that. Yeah, very much so. So that's up to the business owner, though. That's not like you have to do it or it's something legal. But that's up to the business owner if they would want to have some type of disclosure form signed. And I don't know, just to give you just a small, quick example of that, I take my daughter to go jumping, right, at this jumping park. And
Yeah.
before she goes in, they have this 2-page disclosure that, hey, although she's jumping, if she gets hurt, you on your own.
Right.
And it's kind of like that, if you want to, extend that to your customers to say, hey, you're doing this at your own risk, you can do that as well. So that's a good question. Thanks, Morgan.
No, yeah, because I feel like people will sue for everything nowadays.
They do, and they do.
And it'd be so, heartfelt if someone worked so hard and poured a lot of money into their business and just to have it taken away because, they didn't do something as simple or it's probably very cost effective too, right? To buy some sort of insurance, just that ease of mind. So, and I'm speaking for myself too. I'm going to do much better this year. I haven't really done a lot that I would need insurance, but I know we had talked about some influencer work that I did and one company asking me if I had some liability, but I'm like, for what? I'm taking pictures of me. So, but we'll get into that, later. We don't want to spill all the tea.
Right.
So Candace, I always ask all my guests, what are 3 beauty products that you can't live without?
Mascara, concealer, and lip liner.
That's all we need. It's a little mascara, concealer, and lip liner.
Boom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, Candace, how can people follow you? How can they book time with you? Give us all your information.
Great. So the best way to get in touch with me on my social media platforms, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you just put in Candace Bates Insurance, I will pop up on all 3 of those platforms. Again, that's Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and that's Candace Bates Insurance. When you follow that page, you will see all of my contact information, meaning my address. Again, I'm located in the heart of Cincinnati, downtown Cincinnati, but also on my website, you can make an appointment or you can just call me directly. I'd rather talk to you anyway. So please call me directly once you get the office number and we can set an appointment to either you can come in or if you do not want to come in, I can also host a meeting virtually. So I meet my customers where they're at. So if you just reach out, I'll make sure that I meet you right where you're at.
Perfect. And if you guys missed that information, Candace is going to be featured in an upcoming Herald Beauty article because part of your beauty is getting your business together, part of that financials together. So stay tuned for that. Candace, thank you so much. I know we'll have you back in the next few months, but thank you so much for coming on here and sharing all your great knowledge with us.
Thank you, Morgan. And thank you, John and Andria, also for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Yeah. So John, I'm going to kick it back over to you.
Thanks, Morgan. Well, we're at the end of our show, and I want to thank Andria. I want to thank Morgan. I want to thank Candace for coming on today's show. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can find more information about today's topic and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the SESH newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio. Just search for the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm John Alexander Reese.
And I'm Morgan Angelique Owens.
And have a good day.